tournament, but it's still a tournament nonetheless. Benji, take it away.
They have Cannoli now getting off to a good start, almost scoring off the crossbar there. Now, Pasta actually gets an incredible shot 5 seconds in, and Team Black already showing that they want to win this game. This is a best of five, though, so a lot of games to be played.
Exactly, but one thing we do have to take note is looks like Papa Dragon was not able to play in this grand final. He had around 1,000 points every single game in the very first series. In the very first series we saw him in today in that semifinal. So maybe not having them is going to be a determinant in regards to who is going to actually win this series. Do you think it's going to change much, or do you think that Team Black are going to have just as much of a struggle as if Papa Dragon is on the field?
Well, to me, it doesn't even look like it at all, but I think definitely they will have a little bit of a struggle just because you're playing with a different player. So they'll definitely have to get some just growing pains and get used to playing with a new player.
Yeah, exactly. But luckily it's a best of 5. It's not a best of 3, such as the seeding tournament was. However, now it's going to be up to the rest of the team. It's going to be up to the rest of Team Sapphire to really step up here. They don't have Papa Dragon. They're going to have to really step up on the offense and defense if they want to get this win.
Definitely, it's really unfortunate they have to lose one of their players, but things happen, so you have to be prepared to lose one of your players and play without him.
Exactly. It looks like maybe a chance here for Flexi, but he wasn't able to get the touch he needs. Now over to Cannoli. Cannoli ends up losing the 50-50. It's going to be back to Tricky. Tricky tries to lose the 50 back to Azrael. Manages to maintain possession. Looks to get the ball past one. Azrael looking for the double tap. Isn't able to get back to it. Now JR, again, gives away the ball and flicks the ball away from the field.
Boston now booming the ball down to Flexi, who tries to take his time but actually pops the ball up. Cannoli fakes it. Actually, both fakes. Azrael now on a dribble. We've seen him. He's so deadly on the dribbles. Beats one. Gets a 50-2. And now Flexi into the air, tries to pop the ball down, but he has no teammates. Pasta now booms the ball downfield, going for the double touch, it just barely misses it, but now Tricky has possession, but Cannoli tries it and gets bumped. Now Azrael, in a 1v3 actually, Jay has to go back and trying to get the 50-50, but Jay gets a great save. Tricky tries to play the ball into the midfield.
Ball gets popped up high, and still going to be a chance here on the offensive side here for Team Sapphire. They lose the 50 back to Tricky. Tricky, of course, he's the one who has to step up. He's their official sub for their team, and he's going to have to try and step up here for his team into the hands of Papa Dragon. I don't think anyone's expecting him to step up into the shoes of Papa Dragon, but if anything, they need Flexi and Azrael to really step up to give Tricky room to grow, as he definitely shouldn't be expected to do whatever Papa Dragon has been doing over the last few weeks.
Definitely, but the kind of dynamic that is being missed is Azrael and Papa Dragon, who last week were just an incredible offensive powerhouse. They were always passing and scoring to each other, so that dynamic is not going to be here in the grand finals, which is really needed.
Exactly, but here comes Pasta again trying to set up another goal, but Flexi realizes he has a ton of time on the ball and will take possession. That's the one thing that we're seeing out of all the players on the field here tonight, except surprisingly JR, that's allowing these teams to get those goals, get possession, and everything like that. Because JR, he's been just booming the ball down the field, and sometimes he's been able to get it to almost work, as we saw right there. However, with a mechanical player such as him, we gotta see more possession plays.
Definitely, we need to see some high-level mechanics come out of these teams if they want to just match each other and even beat each other, because the usual just booming the ball downfield won't always work, especially since they were playing with a sub.
Exactly, and something that we do have to, that we always have to take into consideration in regards to that. But here comes Flexi looking for a shot. It's going to be wide. 2 minutes left on the clock already, and Team Black still up by 2. But Team Sapphire have at least turned down the offensive scoring in regards to Team Black, and it's going to be up to them trying to keep maintaining possession and get the ball into offense themselves.
Definitely, this is a very different, Team Sapphire than we saw from last week, who was 6-1, 7-1, 1,000 points for Azrael, had an MVP performance from him, and it's very different. They a lot slower, and Azrael only just about to break 100 points, 3 minutes and 30 seconds in this game.
It is, of course, very sad that Loki, due to personal reasons, is not able to continue the season with the rest of this team, and they're going to have to restart. I mean, they have still made it to the grand finals even without Loki. However, it just doesn't seem like the chemistry that they may have been working on for weeks isn't there anymore. We do definitely see individual improvement, but that team chemistry seems to be gone.
Exactly, and sometimes it's important to have your individual mechanics work and even your individual playstyle work, but if your team chemistry is off, then your entire team is off.
Exactly, but now with a minute left on the clock, that's going to be a third goal here. Hat trick, it looks like, here for Pastafarian, really stepping up for his team. We've seen Cannoli get a hat trick before. Pastafarian's actually gotten a hat trick before, and he gets one here once again. Minute left on the clock, really stepping up here for his team in the grand final, where nerves have to be high.
Exactly. Be able to just shut down all your nerves and even get a hat trick in this first game is extremely important to the motivation of Team Black.
Ball gets popped over and forward, back into the legs of Cannoli. Cannoli back to Flexi. Flexi ends up pushing the ball forward over to Tricky. Tricky tries to maintain possession, isn't able to do so, and now will clear the ball down the field. JR trying to get a 50-50, ends up losing the 50-50 back to in a position where Azrael will get possession. Azrael sets up his team here, but he isn't able to get a goal. Now with 30 seconds left in the clock, the defense still holding strong for the likes of Team Black, as they've now pushed the ball back down to the offensive side.
This is basically a game under wraps from Team Black. Really a statement showing that they came here to play, and a hat trick from Pastafarian, who stepped up for his team phenomenally. This is only a best of 3, and he really only needs to step up in this game. If he can have his teammates also have MVP level performances, they can all just step up for their team and win this series.
Exactly, and I can't wait. And Benji, we do have to ask, do you think that Team Sapphire, even with their sub, have what it takes to take this to a game 5 should they lose this next game?
Definitely, it's allow you a bunch of points and a little bit less strict in the next series. Of course, you're still going to want to try as hard as possible to get those points, because even like NRG's case, they're still going to try this regional just because they have already qualified. You still want to keep 100% foot on the gas so you can have a little bit safer route to the promotion relegation playoffs.
Exactly, but now Tricky ends up losing the 50-50s, so now going to be back in the hands of the Pasta. Pasta puts the ball off the sidewall. Now Azrael trying to maintain possession. Azrael looking for the 50-50, ends up balling his own teammate. JR has a chance to go for a flick. That volley shot is put way above the net. Pasta looking for a follow himself, but now Team Black pretty much starting off right where they left off, with tons of pressure on the offensive side.
Definitely, it looks like they're not even slowing down in the slightest. Already have so much pressure. A little bit less goal because they had a goal in 5 seconds last game, but they still have incredible pressure. And I think if they keep the pressure up and it goes unanswered by Team Sapphire, they could definitely get a couple of goals and run away with this series.
Exactly. Now Pasta puts the ball over 1, looks to put it over 2 after the whiff from Team Sapphire. Now JR looking for a double tap off the sidewall. It's going to be off the crossbar once again, and the 4th man, as with almost every single team we've seen tonight, has been the one saving a lot of these teams.
Definitely, it's that accuracy that really plagues these low-level teams. So we've talked about it so much. It's just they need to start hitting their shots, which will be the difference maker between these series.
Exactly, but here comes Cannoli. He got a hat trick in the previous series. Ball's going to be rushed down. JR was found off the midfield line again. Actually, we almost saw Team Black lose a game against Team Aqua earlier tonight, or actually in the previous match, because JR, as 3rd man, pushes up so far, and all it takes is 1 clear to get hit over his head.
Definitely, the 3rd man Sam really showing in Academy, which more of an accidental thing instead of South America where they're just so aggressive. So we'll see how that affects them. And I think the team that can really master positioning or even master anything basic, they can really take it far and win some of these games. And even, I think this one, he finally mastered shooting a top corner shot. He beats 2 defenders in that. Cannoli, incredible shot.
There we go. Sorry, not Pasta. Cannoli put it in the back of the net. I mean, technically they're both type of pastas, if I remember correctly, but Cannoli puts the ball into the top right corner. 3 minutes left on the clock. Team Black once again up by a goal.
Pasta power really showing us. JR tries to get a 50-50, but it's met by somebody, and now Flexi is in the air. Another 50-50 from JR. Now Pasta has time, goes for the air, but gets 1 touch, tries to follow up his touch, but has no boost. Now Azrael, boost ball defense. Azrael is an incredible player. We need to see more from him. We need to see him step up for his team if they want to have a chance in this series. Now Trixie booms the ball downfield. Azrael there. Tries to get the doink and takes possession actually, but it gets away from him.
Cannoli now taking the ball down the field, ends up looking for a pass off the sidewall. It's going to bounce out mid. JR has a chance here to look for a shot. Is going to get 2 to jump, but the ball's still going to be in the hands of Team Black. JR again looks for the pass mid, but due to a double commit, Cannoli was not able to go for the ball. Cannoli trying to maintain possession. He actually does get the big boost, but he couldn't recover. Is now going to wait for JR to get a pass out to him. Cannoli now in the air, looking for maybe for a bit for a solo play. Looks at the pre-flip, maybe into a flip reset, just wasn't able to get it. And now it's going to be up to Pasta to try and maintain pressure on the offensive side.
I'm seeing a lot of double commits from this Team Sapphire roster. Maybe just not comfortable with their new 3rd, but so many double commits, so many balls that everybody's going for, just so scared. And it'll eventually catch up to them. It hasn't caught up to them yet, only 1 goal difference, but even the 1 goal was just 2 people sitting in and no one back post at all, or challenging.
Exactly, but now we have to do one. We do have to take one thing into account at this moment in time, and that is that Team Sapphire have not scored a single goal yet. If they end up not scoring this game, we might not just be on the verge of a sweep. We might be on the verge of a reverse sweep unless they can put it in here. It's off the crossbar, and they still aren't able to put it in the back of the net. I thought Caster Curse was going to help them out there, but it was not able to. And now Team Black staying on their own side, trying to maintain possession.
And before that shot, that is their only shot this game, well, compared to Team Black's 6. So the offensive just dynamic is really showing, and 4 saves from Team Sapphire as well, only 0 from Team Black. So it's just defense versus offense at this point.
It definitely does show you what Papa Dragon does do for his team, though. So even though Papa Dragon wasn't able to participate here, we do have to take into account that he does so much for that offense. He takes possession, he loses 50-50s, and as we've seen in the past, he even gets really nice shots, really good clips for especially for an academy player, but even for a lower level main league player, they're very, very nice clips.
So I have to ask you, do you think that Team Sapphire would have won this series or even stood a chance against this Team Black roster if they had their full roster?
If they had the roster with Loki and Papa Dragon, I think they would win this series. If they had the roster with Papa Dragon right now, I think it would go to a Game 5. But honestly, I don't know if it would be right to call who would have won that series. But I do think it would be a Game 5.
Definitely. I think it would be a lot closer than this because it really is tough trying to play with 2 new people. And I feel Pastafarian really having a tough time. He's still putting up his... Or sorry, not Pastafarian. This Team Sapphire is just really trying to put up the best results.
Exactly. Ball's going to bounce at mid now. Pastafarian looking for the follow-up, and with that, but now, well, what are you physically? I guess you'd be physically ready for it, but there we go. Azriel puts the ball over to the sides. It's going to be all right off the kickoff already. Team Aqua still looking to try and get their first goal. If they can get 1 goal here, that might be able to open up the floodgates.
Definitely the drought that has been happening over the past 2 games with no goals is just demoralizing for the Team Sapphire roster. I don't think anybody would want to score, have it be in a grand final and score no goals. So definitely the priority now is just score a goal.
I think the closest there's ever been to a perfect sweep in close to the grand finals in pro gameplay is actually done in APAC South. The roster known as Alki, or now known as Pulse. Pulse actually picked up an RLCS roster
really?
in APAC South. They picked up the Alki roster. And in regards to that, in their very first regional, they had 2 perfect sweeps in a best-of-7 against people who are considered pro, at the very least, in that region. So they got top 8 and top 4 perfect sweeps. And then they finally got scored on in the grand finals. But still, that's something that we do have to take consideration. Even in the most important matches of your life, you can still never find a way to score.
Yeah. But I wouldn't say this is definitely the most important match of the life, but this is definitely a very important match for these guys. This is the proving grounds for Academy, because a lot of our Academy players, even if you don't make it into that main league through promotion relegation, you still could make a name for yourself in Academy and get picked up by a main league team. That happened with Taz, happened with Clarky. We're now on main league teams and doing well, getting wins.
Exactly, it's something that Academy players do have to take consideration now. Team Black are coming in from a college partnership, so I doubt they're going to be playing in order to get on a main league team, but they're definitely going to be playing for that experience nonetheless. Getting experience against main league teams, and if they can possibly make it into the main league, and experience making it to that main league is definitely going to do wonders for them. And remember, Team Black did lose in the seeding tournament to at the time, Flu Esports White, now Vision Esports White. So they're definitely going to be looking to try and get revenge against them if they can make it to that promotion relegation. But however, Tricky, the sub, is not only getting the first goal of the entire series for his team, is getting his first goal ever on stream.
Yeah, this is just a whiff from one of the Team Black members actually hit it backwards, so they'll try to correct the mistake for that, but that is 1-0 for them, and if they can hold on to this lead, this will not be a sweeping.
Let's see if they can hold on. Tricky now trying to look for this flip reset off the air dribble. Almost manages to get back to it. Tricky now trying to step up mechanically. Maybe his teammates are finally letting him off the leash, so to speak, in regards to his mechanics. But JR is going to clear the ball down the field and try to get that boost.
Yes, I think a lot closer game than we've seen from previous games. Actually, Team Sapphire has shots, and it's actually been reversed. Team Black has no shots. So maybe I wouldn't necessarily say timeout, but maybe the little break in between games actually helped this Team Sapphire roster out.
Maybe. The ball's going to be a double commit in the back corner here. Pastafarian still trying to find a way to send the ball to his team. Cannoli puts the ball at the backboard. Follow up here from JR. It's going to be 50 right into the left hands of Cannoli. Now, Pasta wasn't able to get back to the ball. Maybe we're seeing a little bit of nerves now that are literally on championship point at this moment in time.
Exactly, nerves could be very well a factor with these teams who, a lot of these players are new in Academy and haven't been here before, so an incredible shot just off the post though, and still some offense showing from Team Black who are not out of this game yet.
Well, of course, you know all about championship point, Mr. Benji, reverse sweeping Team White, and in a best of 7 in the grand finals. I don't think anybody's ever going to do that again, but I've been proven wrong before. Maybe we see it again. Now it's going to be back into the hands of Pasta. Pasta now over to Azriel. Azriel trying to maintain possession. JR will lose the 50-50 back to Pasta. Cannoli will take it off his car, but Team Black kind of scrambling. They definitely don't want to lose a game here. However, we saw them come back against Team Aqua very late in the game, so maybe we see it again here.
Definitely, and I do know something about being proven wrong. I actually called that Team White would completely destroy Team Black, or Vision Black last week, and they 3-0'd them, so maybe miracles can happen. So we'll see if they can bring this back at Team Sapphire and force a Game 5.
Well, of course, that could have just been the most mega caster curse moment in history, so maybe that was just a one-time thing. But a minute left on the clock. JR trying to maintain possession, looking for the double off the ground, ends up getting beat out by Azriel. Azriel starting to look confident, which is not something you want to see if you're Team Black. Pasta into the air, ends up running out of boost, now looks for the steal the boost backwards, just isn't able to get back to it. Now JR centers it for Cannoli. That's going to be a double commit with Pasta, and it's going to stay on offense, but again, third man Sam after third man Sam here for Team Black, because they're scrambling to try and get a goal, even though there's still 45 seconds left.
They do have plenty of time to score a goal, and the more mistakes they make, the more less likelihood of a goal being scored, so they really need to play more calm. But another goal was scored. A misread from Pastafarian, who drove up the wall instead of in the net, is the second and the dagger for this team, who are trying to secure this game and force Game 4.
Yeah, and look at that shot. Perfect placement. Tricky, the substitute coming in here, getting his second goal on stream ever in the same game. Really trying to pop off here, but now 34 seconds left. Team Black going to have to try and scramble to try and avoid this going to a Game 4.
Exactly. I think this just sudden thrust of attack from Team Sapphire is... It's not even Azra leading it, who was the one I wanted to lead this. It's the substitutes, Tricky, who's placing his shots perfectly in the net.
And yeah, I think it's perfectly reasonable to ask Azriel to try to step up as he did last week, because Tricky's never been on stream before. But Tricky being able to step up, now that's something we like to see. But again, another double commit has the last two men there for Team Black. Of course, they did need a goal, but they need to clear up that communication if they want to try and get that win.
Definitely, as I say,
really showing up on the offensive side and hopefully on the defensive side here as it's nearing what could be the final match of the tournament.
If they and a dunk from Cannoli, starting his team off strong. But this is what happened in the first game. They had I think it was 5 seconds in the first 5 seconds. This is in the first 4 seconds. They had an immediate goal, and they just followed up with a tons of pressure after that. So Cannoli really trying to cement this game and be the final game of the series.
Exactly, but now it's going to be up to Team Sapphire to fight back, not just from being down by being down in the series, but now going to be down by a goal here early on. Tricky still the only person to have scored here against Team Black. Azriel had a chance there, but it's going to be falling on the ball is JR. And now Flexi will try and maintain possession. It's going to be back over to Cannoli. Cannoli into the air, looking for an air dribble, looking to try and get the dunk, gets the ball past once, going to be mid, double commit, and Tricky will be the one to clear the ball away.
I think Tricky is really doing a lot for his team on offense. I hope that he's not trying to do too much, though, that is forcing his teammates in awkward positions, but he definitely is the catalyst, trying to force these balls downfield. He's had a couple dunks, especially on offense. Now the ball goes sailing downfield. JR trying to go for a redirect, just barely misses it off net. Now Azriel beats the defender, beats the attacker. Pasta man tries to get a hit upstairs, and now has the ball again. Tries to land on it, and actually ends up passing to Flexi, who takes the ball downfield now. Trying to wake his way downfield, but JR actually beats him with the ball. Now Azriel trying to go for the double touch. We know he's deadly, but he barely doesn't. He misses it. But Tricky, the only goal scorer on their team, gets the shot off the pass from Azriel, which is really good. They're getting involved. It's not just Tricky on the offense.
Exactly, we're starting to see a lot more aggression. Tricky help them gain confidence, and now in game number 5, the defense of Team Black, game number 4, the defense of Team Black is starting to falter. They're gonna have to hope that even if their defense falters, they can either regain the original strength they had, or they're going to have to start putting a lot more goals in the net if they want to at least keep themselves ahead of the pack.
If it feels like it's just Team Black versus Tricky at this point, which is incredible to see as the substitute, but we really want to see full team getting involved for this team to actually put up a chance against Team Black, which Team Black is warming up as he almost gets the flick as Jared just barely hits the crossbar, but they are warming up with every second that goes by.
Flexi pops the ball forward over to himself, looking for the follow-up. He gets a 50-50 with JR. JR actually loses that 50 to a very awkward situation for Cannoli. Ends up passing it right out to Azrael. It's going to be a bump in net, but the ball's not going to be on target. Tricky really trying to open up the space here for his team. Looking for bumps, looking for demos. Ball's going to get shot a little bit off target. Again, Azrael launches himself at the ball. Flexi, though, gets bumped. The net was empty, but that's going to be a completely missed empty net there from Cannoli. Pasta looking for the follow. It's going to be off the backboard, and Azrael gets the flick over one. So 1v1. Azrael versus JR. JR will get the touch off the crossbar. Tricky looking for the follow-up, and Cannoli will be the one to clear it away.
Huge saves from both teams, and I like that the action is getting better and better, but JR gets the read off the backboard, and Cannoli tries to get the 50-50, but Tricky, the MVP for his team right now. Azrael trying to get the 50-50, actually passes to Flexi, who booms the ball downfield. Now Cannoli rushing back, trying to get the boost. He does get the corner boost, but JR takes the ball away from him, and now he beats one. Flexi now in an awkward position, has to rush back with the ball. Gets the corner boost though, and going to try and take it off his backboard, taking this time. Tries to pinch it into Azrael, but Pastafarian cuts it off, and Cannoli now with the shot. And Asymptotic up, JR is up, goes for the shot, and barely smacks the crossbar. Cannoli for the shot, and smacks the other crossbar. The fourth man saving this team, and Pastaman is up too far, but JR saves him.
That's going to be another double commit. Team Black, they're playing nervous. They're playing nervous. And in the grand finals, of course, this is their first grand finals. That really, really means something. But they're the better team. Where's the confidence gone, even though they're up in the series?
I think they were just shell-shocked by that last game. 2-0, no goal for them. Not even any really actual attacks from them. So they do have this game tied up, though. They have enough pressure to sustain these goals and get some goals. JR goes for that shot and hits the crossbar again. The accuracy plagues the Team Black roster.
This time we're not seeing as many double commits. We're actually seeing the teammates play even further back away from the ball, so they're not able to keep the pressure that they were originally. It just seems like that Team Black aren't able to find a middle ground between pressure and third man samming. But it looks like Azrael's going to look for a shot. It's going to be wide. It's going to be a demo on the back line by Cannoli. Ball's off the backboard. That's going to be a chance there for Cannoli, but he ends up backflipping, but he still gets a pass out to the backboard. Looks for a shot himself, and that's going to be a goal lead. Cannoli, even after a backflip, still manages to get the goal, but it's off of the double commit there from Team Sapphire that really led to this goal occurring.
The persistency from Cannoli, he backflips, but he still knows he can get to it and reach the Azrael whiff, which not like to see that Azrael whiffing on his own goal, but Cannoli trying to pull his team across the goal line, kicking and screaming. He has 400 points and 2 goals, 5 shots and a save for him.
JR passes the ball across. That's a very close chance there for Cannoli trying to get a second goal. Tricky pops the ball up high. Now back over to Pasta. Pasta trying to maintain possession. It's going to be off the back corner. Followed up now. It's going to be over to Flexi. Flexi ends up getting demoed. It's going to be back into the hands of Cannoli. Cannoli looks for the pass down to JR. Looks for a pinch. I mean, looks like they double commit once again. And now with 50 seconds left on the clock, that double commit could change something. But the ball's going to be an amazing pass there from Pasta over to Cannoli. And even though Cannoli did get this hat trick, it's of course his teammate who sets it up right here. Look at that pass. Completely obliterates the defense. That's what we love to see.
Both of his goals were assisted in the offense. It's like it was in game 1. They have, sorry, cast some math here, 13 shots? 13 shots to 3 compared to Team Sapphire. So the offense is just so different compared to the last game. And they've only been able to save about 4 shots from Team Sapphire. So the accuracy is a little bit rough, but the shots are the effort that counts.
Exactly. Now the ball's going to get popped off the side. Now back over to Tricky. Tricky ends up whiffing. It's a free chance for JR, but it's off the fourth man again. Pass out mid, and Cannoli will get his 4th goal off the pass from Pastafarian. Oh my goodness. The 4th man tonight. The 4th man is the greatest enemy of Academy. And if you guys don't know who the 4th man is, that is, of course, the post and crossbar. They are your greatest enemy whenever you're playing in a nerve-wracking tournament, and I'm sure that's how all these players feel tonight.
Definitely, but even smacking the post more than once, they finally get the goal. Cannoli always there to finish the job. Even after the multitude of passes and shots that just barely hit off the crossbar and ricocheted off, he still is there for it. He's a great, I call it janitor, but he's always cleaning up the plays. So what a great positional knowledge from him to be there.
Exactly, with the ball's off the backboard. Maybe a last-second chance here for a goal. Flexi, though, did not get the read, and JR did, allowing them to get the ball down the field. And now, as the clock winds down, your guys' first Academy tournament winners are Team Black. They ended up getting second in the seeding tournament.